What's up, guys? Today we're back with some Football Manager 24 tips. I recently started playing Football Manager again. I quit after FM19, came back in FM21, but I quit again because it was way too time consuming. But I've been playing recently, so here are some tips that should help you out in your save. Of course, if you've been playing Football Manager for a long time, you probably already know these tips, but I'm going to tell you anyway. This will help you find really good coaching staff at the very start of a save. You can find these guys the second you've started your save. Go over to staff search and just search for people that are free agents, so they're not currently coaching a team, and choose some attributes, some coaching attributes such as attacking, defending, technical, tactical, and just search for some guys that have 15 plus. You should see some free agent head of youth developments. These guys are absolutely ridiculous, and you can hire them as coaches, which is good because they are way too good to be just head of youth developments. They are absolutely unreal coaches. I mean, take a look at this Davies Austin guy. The amount of green and yellow here, he might as well be playing for Brazil, or managing Brazil, I should say. Like, some of these guys are literally good enough to be managers or assistant managers. Some of them are so humble that they will literally request to be an under 18 assistant manager or an under 18 coach. However, if you think they're good enough to be coaching your first team, you should get them. And get them while you can, and you'll probably have the best coaching staff in your league. You can also get some really good loan managers, but you only really need one loan manager. But you can get some really good loan managers. Now, the second tip is just a little simple one to help you save some money when you're getting rid of staff members or replacing them. So instead of firing them, ask them for a mutual termination. So you both agree to terminate the contract. This can save about 10k, which isn't really anything if you're managing a big club. But look, act broke, stay rich, as the cool kids say. So here, the under 18 goalkeeping coach, Matt Doyle. It would have cost me 51.5k to fire him, but after a mutual termination, it only cost 35k. I always do this even when I'm managing a big team because I'm stingy. Third tip, this is just general advice for if you're trying to poach new gens. My favorite part of Football Manager. Unfortunately, not as enjoyable in FM23 and FM24 because you can't poach most under 18 players anymore, which is, I guess, sort of realistic. But I miss being able to get the 16-year-old straight away. Well, you can still do that, but not just the foreign ones. The first tip is that you can scout 50 youth players at a time. Go to World Transfers and Youth Intake. You can literally select 50 players at a time max, and then select to scout all of them. Of course, you won't actually see the results of the scouting until they've played at least one game, which sometimes takes a while. Sometimes it takes months until I get the scouting results back. The next tip is, of course, as I said, a lot of under 18 players will not agree to a contract because, I can't move to your club until at my current age. Of course, Sports Interactive added that into the game to make it more realistic and less exploitable. So the next tip is to just literally note down their birthday, their 18th birthday, or note down the day that their contract expires, their current contract, and then try and come in for them then. You could be able to sign them before anyone else does. Of course, if you shortlist them, you'll be notified anyway when someone else bids for them. The next tip is remove and exclude the percentage of profit from next sale. So if you try to bid for a player and in their counter offer, they want a percentage of profit from the next sale, just advance, reject their counter offer, advance, and then when you're back in the game, go back to that player, bid, and make sure you remove that from the negotiation and exclude it. So you will not have to pay that percentage of profit. Now, this is definitely an exploit. Okay, but I'm not going to complain. The next one, media description. Go to scouting, go to player search, and you can add a new criteria to the player search view, which is media description. This will allow you to sort by media description. And if you see any new gen player that is labeled as promising, there's probably a pretty good chance that they're going to turn out good. This isn't a guarantee, but yeah, if you see promising fullback, promising winger, just shortlist them. They might very well end up being good. And it's a very shortcut way to just instantly find players that probably have pretty good potential ability. There's actually another criteria as well, not just promising, but there's one called Wonder Kid. As you can see in the game, the only Wonder Kid here is Yamal. So as you can see, Wonder Kid is pretty good. If you find a new gen whose media description is Wonder Kid, sign that guy right now. Do not hesitate to sign that guy as soon as you can. Now, the final one, my favorite, this is so good. It feels dirty. Offering contracts to youth players the second they enter the youth intake. This only really works with English players as I'm in the English Premier League, but I check the date that the English players spawn into the game. I go straight to world transfers youth intake. Instantly what I do is I find any English or Scottish players and I offer them contracts before their current club that they've just spawned into offers them one. I've got some seriously good players from doing this, and the compensation you have to pay them is only about 2 million max usually. So if you're managing a big club with a lot of money, you're in business. Look at this guy I got from Aberdeen, Monroe. Pretty good player, and I only signed him for like 1 point something million. You know, he'll probably make that back times 10 at least. In fact, more than that. His value is already really good. So now, of course, I will admit it does sometimes get boring. Like, of course, if you're like, that's how I like Football Manager. But after a few years, I instantly have the best team in Europe by far. In FM19, I used to do this. I used to have a loan army of just the best wonder kids in the world. By 2030, I got a new stadium for Arsenal. We had so much money from me selling these overpowered wonder kids, the new gens, that I literally had to do something with the money. We had billions. Every year, I had a positive net spend, despite having the best team in the world by far. And yeah, you know, there's a point where you look at that and it's like, okay, this is ridiculous. Are you going to keep playing this safe forever? Just win the league every year? But yeah, I enjoy this. I enjoy making squads really good with new gens. And so yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Oh, and before I leave, let's just show you guys, as I said, you can sign under 18 players in England as long as they are also from England. So look at this guy, Marco Aurelio from Man City. I did overpay a bit for him, 35 million. Look at this guy's value. Look at his value after he signed for us. There is no world in which this guy doesn't end up being worth 100 million. Like as in, a team will actually bid that for him. Because value doesn't mean that a team will bid that for him. As we know, the AI are very stingy. They will bid like 15 million for one of your best players. But when I want their best players, I have to bid bloody 200 million.